Commissioner Waldridge,
Present.
Commissioner Tippett,
This conference will now be recorded.
Commissioner Wisman,
Here, present.
Commissioner Sauer,
Here.
Mayor May.
Here, we do have a quorum, and the first item of business is going to be the promotions in the police department. We have, do you want to announce the names, Chief, or do you want me to do it from here? Okay. And we do, we'll start with Captain, then go down, is that correct? Okay. We will do a ceremony tonight. I normally pin badges on police officers when we promote them, and tonight, though, due to COVID-19 restrictions, we will follow our own guidelines and make sure we keep our folks safe. And we will just do a virtual pinning. I believe that we're going to let family members stand there since they are in the same household. And then I'm just going to stand here just out of support with them. And first we have Scott Morgan, who's being promoted from lieutenant to captain, and it's been a pleasure to work with Scott over the years and watch him grow as a police officer from his time with our department and from remembering when he was in high school with my son. So it's always an honor to have this opportunity. Chief, I guess we'll stand and do the honors with Scott's wife is going to be pinning his captain bars on, and he's got his two children with him.
Tell me when you're ready for the second one.
Just on each side.
Get one on each side.
Yep. Okay, let me do this one. Let me do this one. Okay, ready? Okay, flip up. Okay. Okay, keep it in. Good job. Good job, Brad.
Scott will be leading our dispatch center.
Oh, great. Scott will take over our E911 center as a new captain.
Congratulations. It's a little different.
A little different, yeah.
This one? Yeah. Congratulations. All right.
Thank you.
And next?
Next, and we'll do a better ceremony later with you all. So very, very sorry about the circumstances, but congratulations. We look forward to your leadership.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Next, we will have Tom Schmidt, who's going to be promoted from sergeant to lieutenant. Also had the pleasure of watching now Lieutenant Schmidt over the years with his family, who have been great supporters in our community. We appreciate the work that they do, and again, very sorry that I don't get to stand there and do this with you myself, but we will do that later. And I think you have a son today that's going to pin some lieutenant bars on. And anybody else that you have?
Tom will be in, Lieutenant Schmidt will be in our patrol division on Tuesday on day shift. I guess will be in charge of one of our day shift squads.
I'm sure the community looks forward to working with you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Please. Thank you all very much. Congratulations. And next we have Shane Music, who's being promoted from patrol officer 3 to sergeant. Again, thank you for your years of service. I've watched you over the years, and being a canine handler, that's something that's been very important, very helpful to our community, and we appreciate all the continued leadership that you have and look forward to seeing you in your new role. And again, I apologize for not being able to do the normal pin on the badge, but we'll do that later. But tonight we're going to have Sergeant Music's wife and son and daughter that are here to help with putting on his sergeant's stripes. So thank you for that, for being here to support him. I always say too, one of the most important, but one of the toughest jobs of the police department is being a sergeant. Right now, you'll be.
It's probably the most important promotion, the most important position in the department.
So we appreciate the support that you all are going to give at home for this new responsibility and new role.
Yeah, hard work. All right, congratulations.
Yes, thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
Very proud of you. Very proud of you all's efforts, working hard to be able to move up and staying with us.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you all too. And thanks to all of the officers and folks who were promoted tonight. We appreciate their continued work and look forward to their continued leadership.
Good job, Mayor.
It's a little different, I gotta tell you. It's sad that we don't get to actually do the normal course of promotions, but we're happy to do it nonetheless. All right, next item. We don't have any, I don't believe we had any citizen comments from what I was told earlier today. The next item would be our consent calendar items. We'd ask the city manager to read and handle the consent items, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 1 is approval of the minutes from the June 8th, 2020 special work session, the June 19th, 2020 special meeting, the June 26th, 2020 special meeting, and the June 29th, 2020 special regular meeting. Item 2 is request approval to enter into a professional services agreement with Stantec in the amount of $7,000 to inspect the existing transit building. Item 3, request approval for the balancing change order with ASL Excavating for the Carolina Storm Sewer Project. This $28,744.75 change order will compensate concrete caps and unforeseen rock that was encountered on the project. Item 4 is to request approval for Amendment 5 to AECom's professional services agreement to cover the construction inspection services for a stormwater project at the base Fort Hill. This $65,645 amendment will be paid by KIA loan. Item 5, request approval to enter into a professional services agreement with MKSK in the amount of $99,960 to study the feasibility of a community boardwalk and floating dock along the Kentucky River near Blanton's Landing. Please note the $99,960 amount is the correct amount. I believe the agenda may have $96,960. Item 6, request approval for Amendment 5 to Palmer Engineering's professional services agreement in the amount of $74,827.50 to cover increased design costs associated with the Fort Boone Pump Station project. Item 7, request approval of an extension to the existing professional services agreement with Coyle and Associates not to exceed $120,000 to assist the sewer department. Item 8, request approval to enter into a professional services agreement with AECom in the amount of $155,000 for design of the West Frankfort Interceptor. Item 9 is request approval of an agreement with Green Hill Cemetery to provide financial assistance in the amount of $10,000 to be used towards maintenance of the cemetery. Item 10, request approval of an IT services agreement with SciTech Incorporated in the amount of $9,999 to update the fire department records management portal. Item 11, request approval of an MOA with Franklin County Fiscal Court pertaining to the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant in the amount of $12,238 for community policing. Item 12, personnel actions. The promotion of Scott Morgan, Police, effective July 28th, 2020, Lieutenant to Captain. Promotion of Tom Schmidt, Police, effective July 28th, 2020, Sergeant to Lieutenant. Promotion of Shane Music, Police, effective July 28th, 2020, Patrol Officer 3 to Sergeant. Promotion of Donnie Carpenter, Fire EMS, effective August 4th, 2020, Sergeant to Captain. Promotion of Jonathan Mitchell, Fire EMS, effective August 4th, 2020, Sergeant to Captain. Promotion of Alan Jocks, Fire EMS, effective August 4th, 2020, Sergeant to Captain. Promotion of Gary Wilkerson, Fire EMS, effective August 4th, 2020, firefighter 2 to sergeant. Promotion of Dale Southworth, Fire EMS, August 4th, 2020, firefighter 3 to sergeant. Promotion of Thomas Rankin, Fire EMS, effective August 4th, 2020, firefighter 2 to sergeant. Promotion of Max Davis, Fire EMS, effective August 4th, 2020, firefighter 2 to sergeant. Retirement of David Sherlucky, police, effective July 31st, 2020. Authorized payout of accrued leave. Retirement of John Redfern, Fire, effective July 31st, 2020. Authorized payout of accrued leave. Retirement of Cale Hilbert, Fire, effective July 31st, 2020. Authorized payout of accrued leave. Retirement of William True, Fire, effective July 31st, 2020. Authorized payout of accrued leave. Retirement of Ed Gilchrist, Fire, effective July 31st, 2020. Authorized payout of accrued leave. Termination of Josh Sutton, Public Works Garage, effective July 27th, 2020. And that would be the end of the consent calendar.
Is there a motion on the consent calendar items? Moved by
Second.
Commissioner Tippett, second by Commissioner Waldridge. All those who signified their presence in the affirmative tonight will be considered to have voted in the affirmative on the consent items 1 through 12. And those are adopted. And we want to give special recognition and thanks to those that were promoted tonight. We already did the police promotions. Again, thanks to those wonderful folks for staying with us and for the contribution that they've done. And on the fire side, thanks to all those who are going to be promoted. We're going to do their promotion next month or at a later time. And again, thanks to all those that retired. We lost some really, really good folks in that group of retirements. David Sherlucky, John Redfern, Kel Hilbert, William True, and Ed Gilchrist. All folks that have offered great service over the years to the city of Frankfort, and we wish them well in their future. Next item. The city and county do joint appointments to the Tourist and Convention Commission Board. The counties already had made their appointments, so we just need to do the same. This would be for number 1 is the appointment of Dan Liebman to the Tourist and Convention Commission representing City County Restaurant Association. Tourist and Convention Commission appointment of Melissa Parker representing City County Motel Hotel group. So if there's
I
any
move to approve, Mayor.
moved by Commissioner Waldridge.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wissman. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor.
Commissioner Sauer.
Okay. I can't let this go by without commending your appointment of Melissa Parker. She was a long-term employee of Sauer Office Equipment. Kept that business together while I was doing other things. And just remarkable. She is also the wife of Holly Parker, an employee in our street department who too does an outstanding job for the city of Frankfort. Thank you, Mayor, for 2 great appointments.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Wissman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, those are appointed, and thank you so very much. Next item would be first reading of ordinances and resolutions on action items. So that's the solicitor read item number 1 by title and summary only, please.
An ordinance amending section 40.21 of the City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances relating to Police Department original appointments. This ordinance amends section 40.21 of the City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances relating to Police Department original appointments to change the examination process to operate on a quarterly basis, require oral interviews when at least 8 applicants are eligible, remove unnecessary procedures for when the interview list exceeds 27 applicants, establish a revolving patrol officer recruit eligibility list consisting of individuals approved by the Civil Service Board whose name shall stay on the list for 1 calendar year, require applicants to wait 1 calendar year before applying for a police officer position again, and amends the accelerated candidate process to accommodate applicants who may not be currently employed with a law enforcement agency.
Any questions? Okay, if not, next item will be resolution for coronavirus relief fund. This authorizes the filing of a coronavirus relief fund application for reimbursement of incurred expenses to the Department of Local Government. If there's any questions, we can answer those. If not, we'd like to ask for a motion to approve.
Mayor, move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Wiseman,
Second.
second by Commissioner Tippett. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiseman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, that item is adopted. Next item would be a reimbursement agreement amendment number 1 and resolution for the 2nd Street Tiger Project. If there's any questions, we can answer. If not, would ask for approval.
Mayor, move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Wiseman,
Second.
second by Commissioner Tippett. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiseman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Yes,
Mayor May.
the item's adopted. Next, we have a memorandum of understanding for with the Bourbon on the Banks Festival Board of Directors to help with that project, and hopefully that will go forward. We don't know yet at this time, but at this point we're going to continue working towards that goal. So if there's any questions, we can answer. If not, this would be something that we do need an adoption, need to adopt.
Mayor, I have a question.
Commissioner Tippett.
I know we had this somewhere, but I'm not sure who is all a member of that board. Could staff forward me that list of board members for Bourbon on the Banks?
Sure, we'll send it to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. And this is for in-kind contributions only this year, just for your general knowledge. Okay, any others? If not, we'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve, Mayor.
Moved by Commissioner Tippett. Couldn't tell who
I had a
seconded.
question really quick, Scott. I'm sorry.
Let me get the second real quick. Can somebody
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sauer. Okay, Commissioner Walters.
Second.
Mayor, do we know, with the way that the Bourbon on the Banks will be set up this year through the Board of Directors, will they still be sending money for Kentucky State University's scholarship program?
That I'm not aware of. Was it in this?
Hi, this is Blair. Can you all hear me?
Oh, yeah, Blair, go ahead. Blair Heck.
Yeah, I can actually answer that if that's okay, Mayor. Yeah, so one of the things that the board will be contributing to is the distillation scholarships through Kentucky State University. And they are also going to be donating part of the proceeds from the event to the Foundation for a Healthy Kentucky. And that is specifically to help student, I think K through 12 student scholarships for extracurricular activities and things like that.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Blair.
Any other?
Thank you.
Call for question. Call for question, Mayor.
Okay. No other questions? Clerk, please call roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiseman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, it's adopted. We hope that can happen this year. Next would be an order for surplusing 2 vehicles in our sewer department, or is it sewer department? If there's any questions, we can answer those. If not, we entertain a motion. Moved by Commissioner Tippett,
Second.
second by Commissioner Sauer. Any other discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiseman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, that's adopted. Thank you. Next would be, are there any questions on any of the upgrades at Capitol View Park from anyone?
Mayor, I just wanted to focus in on 2 in particular, and maybe the city manager or Sean can take care of this. Where are we on the lighting of the fields that the commission directed?
We met, I believe it was last week, and we met with Musco Lighting representatives and also Arts Electric, who they've hired to be their subcontractor. And I think Arts was mobilizing this week or next to start work. You know, they've ordered parts. We're probably 4 to 5 weeks out from all the parts being in, but there's some groundwork to do in upgrading the service on Sauer 1. So I believe Arts Electric was going to mobilize this week or next on Sauer 1 and get dig in the new line, remove the old service, and get ready for the parts. And then they will complete Sauer 1 with the new poles and lights and leave Sauer 2 functioning. And at some point during the season, they will switch over, start working on Sauer 2, and any play will be done on Sauer 1, so we won't interrupt any play.
Keith, do we have a definitive answer that there will be soccer?
No, I think there's a meeting this week, either Wednesday or Thursday night. I think the school board's meeting, or the superintendent's. I talked to one of the soccer coaches yesterday or this weekend.
Okay. And the second one was the sewer upgrades. I didn't know if Kenny was here, or you can speak for Kenny as far as the Department of Water.
I think Kenny is here, and I'll let him speak for himself.
Okay.
Yes, we actually just got our final quotes on the pump stations for the park this week. We have went ahead and got that order started. They're about 4 weeks out, but in the 4 weeks, we will start laying pipe in about a week when the pipe comes in.
So we're A-okay, Kenny, with Department of Water?
Yes, we had to make a few changes, but they're not going to have any issues with what changes that we've made. We've actually went from 8 pump stations down to 4 to save some more money.
Wonderful, wonderful. That does it. Thank you.
Keith, where are we, Mayor? I'm sorry.
Good.
Keith, where are we in getting the contract for Capitol View?
Contract for what part?
For us on how many years we are going to lease?
I reached out. The state still has that. The last word I got is that's not going to be a problem. And I think their attorneys are looking at possible language for that. It's kind of, I'll follow up tomorrow and I'll email you all an update what I find out. But I think 1 meeting ago or 2 meetings ago, I reached out before the meeting and it was the same update. It looks promising. I think everybody wants to do a long-term lease, wants to add the language that'll help protect some of our investments. But I think their attorneys are trying to figure that language out. And we may not be at the top of their list right now with everything going on.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to know as we're putting more money in.
One quick question, Mayor, for the city manager. Is there any possibility at all the state would be willing to give us the deed to that property?
I can ask again. I have asked. I asked the previous administration We asked this administration, and I think they've already told us no, but when I follow up tomorrow, I'll definitely bring that up again.
Questions?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you all. Next would be the update on the U.S. Conference of Mayors Social Justice Update. In June, the Conference of Mayors was supposed to have our annual meeting. Unfortunately, that got canceled due to COVID-19, but we had some virtual meetings, which was very different. And the working group that was put together consisted of Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago, Jane Castor, the mayor of Tampa, Florida, John Cranley, the mayor of Cincinnati, and they had some, I think 3 police chiefs from around the country on there from the Police Chiefs Task Force. Also, let's see, U.S. Conference of Mayors sent a letter to the leadership in the U.S. House of Representatives and the United States Senate, letting them know that we want to work with them on the Justice and Policing Act of 2020 that was recently introduced, and that there are passed a resolution at the end of the month at the virtual U.S. Conference of Mayors meeting in support of principles to achieve police reform and racial justice. And at this point, just waiting to get further updates. That was the end of let's see, it was June the 26th or 28th, I believe. I can't remember the exact date, but sometime in that last week. So the whole goal is to establish a police reform and racial justice group charged with producing, advancing, and enacting meaningful reforms that mayors and police chiefs around the country can adopt to address, deter, or mediate police violence and patterns of racial discrimination. And so, as we wait further guidance, that's the latest information I have from the United States Conference of Mayors. And as soon as they send some information, we will share that. Hopefully, with everything going on, they can still stay focused on that. I know with the situation in Chicago, I think I saw 59 shootings yesterday, I believe. So that's a tough thing. I get it. But at the same time, hopefully our staff can continue working with the U.S. Conference of Mayors to bring real police reform and racial justice to this country. And I don't know the timing of the federal, let me find it. Oh, the Justice and Policing Act of 2020. I don't know if they have a time when that might be voted on. I know they just got back into session. I don't know if they're today or yesterday. Well, I guess today. So I guess the number one thing right now they're working on is the COVID Relief Act, and I believe there's a lot of back and forth on that, so that's something we're waiting on too. So I'm sure that they will work as diligently as they can. I know the House is very interested in passing that under the leadership of Nancy Pelosi. I haven't heard anything from Senator McConnell's office on where they stand on that act at this time. So I guess we'll continue to bring that information forward. I don't know if our police chief will receive anything or not from the police chief, International Association of Chiefs of Police, but I'm sure that we'll all continue to watch. And Commissioner Sauer, you have a question?
Yes, Mayor, I don't know who to address this to, whether it's you or the city manager or Chief Adams, but related to that is the use of body cams, and we were to get those in, I think, late this month, or maybe it's early next month. Could somebody comment on that as a related item?
Manager or the chief, if they know.
I believe the chief said they were in. The only thing they were waiting on was to get a more suitable way to have a stronger battery life or what have you. But Chuck's here, so.
Okay, Chief, did you?
Our technical glitch was actually a server, and Bobby and
That's a server, yeah.
The vendor got that worked out, and we are rolling along. We've had them We've actually had most of them out in the field almost a month now, so
Mhm.
it has been good. There's been on the rare occasion that we get an officer complaint, it's been easy to look at the video already and see that whether anything needs to be changed or if it was justified or unjustified. So yeah, it's already working for us. So
By the city attorney, sorry, I got to get it back on topic. I'm sorry. I didn't know if that would be okay or not. I just sort of related, but okay. Well, we'll get an update, Commissioner Sauer. We'll get that question. If anyone has questions, they can send those to our city manager, email it, and get those answered for you. I'm sorry.
You mentioned the mayor of Chicago and the mayor of Cincinnati. You said mayor of Florida. Could you see what city was that?
Jane Castor, Castor. She's from Tampa, Florida.
Okay, from Tampa.
Mayor of
Okay.
Tampa, Florida.
Okay. And I assume, you said there's meetings coming up in regards to this?
That's what the last word that I got, what they were going to continue to try to work out recommendations. We had I think it was June 26 or 28.
Mm-hmm. Well, is there any way that you could give us like an overview, like send us all an overview? Because there was a lot of numbers that you sent out and dates you sent out and just a lot of bullet points just to give us an overview of exactly what was said so we'll know what to be expecting on the race and justice police reform as well as on the 2020 Act.
There is a copy of we'll get a copy of the resolution, and that has...
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah, we'll send that to you. Commissioner, are you raising your hand? No? Okay. Thank you, City Solicitor, for keeping us on topic. Sorry. But if anyone has questions, please send those to our city manager, and he'll get those to the department heads and get answers back to you, I'm sure, very quickly. Next is an update on the Wandale Robinson sign. I'm not sure which staff person is in charge of that, Public Works or...
It would be Katie Beard with Public Works.
Okay.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
This is Katie.
Hello.
The Wandale Robinson signs have been fabricated and they're ready and waiting for us at the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. At this point, we're ready to plan the unveiling ceremony. We will be working with the family to identify dates that they're available and that Wandale will be in town. And then we'll work with other friends or mentors that need to be involved in that process. And we're hoping to host it at the old Capitol lawn. So that is where we are now. We're just still planning stages, but the signs are ready and waiting for us.
Thank you, Katie, for following up on that. I know she and I have been in contact, Mayor. And just now that football season has now officially started, and it's just really hard. He has gone back home to Nebraska for football. And so we'll be waiting on him to see if there's a date that, is best for him, because we would really like him to be present if possible. So I'll continue to work with Katie on that.
Wandale success this season if they get to play with who knows what's going to happen. Hopefully they will. So we wish him all the best. Next, discussion regarding Fort Hill. There's several things in there. So Commissioner Sauer, did you have questions?
Yes, Mayor. Earlier today, I sent, or actually last week, I sent a memo to the Board of Commissioners, and in that listed 4 different points that I was concerned about. And the city manager replied, and then I kind of sent a reply to his comments on the 4 issues. Let me start. There were 4 items, as I mentioned. Let me start with the 4th one. The 4th one was removing the discarded railing at the Military Road below Urban Woods Parking Center. That, as I can see, has been picked up, I guess, by Sean and the Parks Department. And also, I wanted to thank the city manager. I assume it was his initiative that was able to get the Irvinswood Trail sign taken down, and I appreciate that very much. Continuing to go into reverse order, the third item I had was consulting with the Kentucky Heritage Council on developing a policy about the mowing and aesthetic maintenance of archaeological sites. This may be a part of a coordinated management plan developed between the city and KHC at a later date, highly recommended to start as soon as possible. And as I understand, I received a copy of Craig Potts. Yes, Commissioner Tippett.
Sorry.
Okay. So at any rate, that seems to be placed in motion from a letter of from Sean, and I appreciate that. He was asked to reach out to Craig Potts by the city manager, and that looks really good. And the request for fencing to be installed around the archaeological sites, which are basically the Edwards and Weber farmsteads, which are extremely overgrown, as I mentioned in the letter to you all, that we'll need staff to be looking at that as soon as we get the exacting boundaries back from the Kentucky Office of State Archaeology. So that's in process, and I appreciate that very much. Continuing on, item number 2 was to request appropriate fencing around all archaeological sites at Fort Hill, except the military road, which has been deemed appropriate for public use and foot traffic. Fencing will be doable once the exact location of the archaeological sites are received from the Kentucky Office of State Archaeology. 3-foot picket style fence is recommended, which will be a low impact to wildlife, but still allow viewing for visitors. The city manager responded to that regarding budgetary constraints and so forth. And in my message to you all earlier today, Fort Hill improvement does not always need to come from the city general fund or from the parks general fund. The Crown Castle Tower rental lease agreement dated November 25th, 1991, Section 6 states, quote, "In accordance with the covenants that run with Fort Hill property, the rent payable under the lease agreement shall be paid into a special account by the city designated Leslie W. Agreement, Morris Park account. And such funds shall be expended by the lessor for the sole purpose of maintaining and improving the Leslie W. Morris Park. I hereby request that the Board of Commissioners take a look at that amount and go ahead with fencing and so forth. The account has over $77,000 on it. I'm sure that will help us with fencing, will help us with signage and so forth. So that's a part of the request. Lastly, item number 1 is again investigating the University of Kentucky Office of State Archaeology. I'll get that word right. That's a Scott Tippett word, I think. Archaeology. To request the digital copies, and there I think I just had a semantics or a word choice disagreement with the city manager. Technically, I don't look at it as an open records request, but a request by the owner of the property for the digital digital copies. Otherwise, I think we're in sync with that as well. So those are the 4 items. If you have any question, or if the city manager has any questions about it, I think we're in pretty good sync on it, actually.
Would you wanting to make your recommendation in the form of a motion, or?
Mayor, I make the motion that we accept the actions deemed for action item number 9, Fort Hill action item, and that the Board of Commissioners adopt it as such, as presented, verbatim.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Sauer, second by Commissioner Tippett. Just for further clarification, and part of that was any expenditure of funds would come out of the Fort Hill account?
Yes, by the Leslie Morris account. That's the rental that we get from the tower up there. Thank you, Mayor.
City manager, you had a question, input, something.
Yeah, I'd like to reach out to the Parks Director. He's on vacation this week. But let him, advise him that you all would like him to look at that account and the amount in it, and let him kind of propose what he could do with that account at Fort Hill, and give you all a future proposal to how we might spend that money that y'all can clearly look at and be comfortable with. If that's okay.
What is the actual motion? You said number 9, and I actually picked it up before Shermay actually sent out the last one. So I'm looking at an older one. So I didn't have time to go pick up the new agenda that she graciously put in my mailbox. But so which one are you saying?
Well,
is your motion?
It's item number 9 in its entirety.
Okay, I need to know which one that is because I have the wrong one. So could you please read that?
Well, okay. We're requesting from the University of Kentucky, we'll take it from the top this time instead of reverse order. Get digital copies of all the unrelated archaeological studies performed on all the city parks while we're doing it, all the city parks or any sites within those parks. For instance, Fort Hill, for instance, Hayden Station, which is in Capitol View, one of the very earliest settlements in Franklin County, and has historical significance. In Capitol View, you also have the Frankfort Waterworks within Cove Springs. This will be useful for both Fort Hill upgrades and for consideration during development of the upcoming park master plan. That's one of the real important things about this. We're not just touching Fort Hill in this particular item, 1 of 4, but we are touching all of those that are concerned with the Parks Master Plan. If the Kentucky Office of State Archaeologically does not have staff sufficient or available to accommodate this request due to the pandemic, we have an archaeologist which will volunteer to pull those records. There will be costs associated with the request, usually a fee plus the cost of labor. So, you know, we have a archaeologist that will be glad to do that for us. Then number 2 was request appropriate fencing around all archaeological sites at Fort Hill, except the military road, which has been deemed appropriate for public use and foot traffic. Fencing will be doable once the exact locations of the archaeological sites are received from UK OSA. A small 3-foot picket style fence is recommended, which will have low impact to wildlife, but still viewing by visitors. Item number 3, Commissioner, was to consult with the Kentucky Heritage Council on developing a policy about mowing and aesthetic maintenance of archaeological sites. This may be a part of a coordinated management plan developed by the city and KHC at a later date. And, you know, we want to start on that as soon as we can. We have to get the boundaries precisely designated. And I said in my earlier remarks that more or less that has been done or is in process already, and I'm happy with that because I got a copy of Craig Potts' letter to the city. I believe the mayor and the city manager received the same. And then item number 4, I was just saying the railing that was down at the foot of Military Road has already been retrieved, and the sign, Urban Parks Trail, removed by direction of the city manager and the parks director. So we're good.
So my understanding with reading that is he put all of these different numbers under one motion. And I think that if we're going to move them, I think they need to be broken down because I don't agree with it being one complete motion. I know it's dealing with Fort Hill, but they're listed as different.
Okay.
I agree. Like I agree with I guess it's number 9 on your side, which starts off with the request from University of Kentucky State of Archaeological digital copies. I agree with that. I do not agree with the fencing portion at this time. So I think it needs to be broken down.
Okay. That's fine.
Let me do a quick.
I froze for a second. I was just looking for clarification if you could. Did we have a motion first and a second already?
Commissioner Sauer made a motion, seconded by Commissioner Tippett. So that motion is on the table and it can be withdrawn or disposed of in any way that the commission would like. It means that you could pass it or you could defeat it or you could amend it.
Call for vote.
Okay.
Thank you for
I
the
just think
clarification.
that I think that if they were number 11, 12, and 13, are they not, Shermay, are they not listed as different things on your, I know I did not go and pick up the recent one. So if they're listed as reasons, they shouldn't be together to vote on.
We did combine those, Commissioner. We combined all those items into one item with the final agenda that went out on Friday.
Okay, figures. Okay. I'm just not for it. Spending money right now on a fence at this time right now, I think is frivolous. Even though I do agree with the fence at some time, but I do agree with doing the research as we've had the archaeologists come and speak, who I appreciate. And do we even know what the labor cost would be for that, an estimate?
Mayor, if I could respond to the first part of Commissioner Waldridge's concern. I did not read to you, Commissioner, and I'm sorry you don't have the copy. But Fort Hill improvements do not always have to come from the city's general fund.
Correct.
Or the park's general fund.
Correct.
The Crown Castle Tower rental lease agreement dated November 25th, 1991, Section 6 states, quote, in accordance with the covenants that run with Fort Hill property, the rent payable under this lease agreement shall be paid into a special account of the city's designated, quote, Leslie W. Morris Park account. And such funds, here's the important part, such funds shall be expended by the city for the sole purpose of maintaining and improving the Leslie Morris Park. So the request is for the Board of Commissions to use that funding source for those improvements in Leslie Morris Park. And I should say that funding source had $77,000 in it. I don't think a 3-foot picket fence is going to cost very much.
I mean, I suppose it's still a cost. I mean, that was the question.
Had his hand up, then city
Go ahead, floor, Mayor.
You do. Go ahead.
Go ahead, floor. Yeah. First of all, we need to commend the city manager for executing the will of this board. He's done a couple of things here that we've asked him to do on a couple of these projects. So thank you, Mr. City Manager, for that. The costs of pulling the records are minimal. Even if we pay somebody to do it, it's still minimal. all of this information. And the reason we need to do this is because this history extends all the way back into the Nunn administration in the early 70s. And through retirements and attrition and folks moving on to their great reward and new folks moving in and taking jobs, the institutional memory and institutional knowledge about Fort Hill has been gone. And if this information had been at our fingertips instead of in the archives in a closet somewhere collecting dust, much of the consternation and much of the controversy we've had over the last year would have not happened had this information been at our fingertips. Okay, so all we're trying to do is clean it up at a minimal cost and protect, identify and protect the things that are truly historically significant. Okay, that's all we're asking, and it is a minimal cost. I think, Shermay, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the mayor and the city manager decided to condense those 4 bullet points on the agenda, right? Is that right, Mr. City Manager? Yes. So, I mean, it's pretty simple actually, and it's not very expensive. So we should probably just go ahead and move. Go ahead, Mr. Green.
Might I suggest it will not slow the process down. I think we have clear direction from what was written out, what Commissioner Sauer asked for. How about we get the Parks Director to take what you all want done? We still got some data to get back on the archaeological sites, and we don't know how long or how big the fencing will be till we know how big the sites are. And once we have all that ready, then we come back to you all with the estimate. It won't slow the project down, but we can bring the numbers back, and Commissioner Waldron can be more comfortable in the expenditure. Commissioner Sauer's right. We have 77,000. About 5,000 of that is some reforest money, but I do think we get 21,000 a year in income from the tower. So it is a continuing pot of money. And I just want the Parks Director involved so he can tell us what deferred maintenance he has up there, and he can put that in there with the fence and everything else and come back to you all with a plan.
Okay, Commissioner Waldridge had her hand up, and then Commissioner Sauer.
Thank you, Keith. And that's what when we say minimum cost, I'm sure there's going to be some minimum cost in the labor or pulling things. I completely understand that. We don't move things by minimum cost. Everything else they want down to the right cent for everything else. And I expect to have that for this. I want to know what that expense is going to be with, not even if it's the city money, it's in another pot of 77,000. The city has a right to know where every cent is going in that budget as well. Obviously, I've been left out of some many conversations in regards to this. And I don't know, Laura, what we can do about trying to get our city commission stuff back on board so our city has a say, we have a say, we all know what's going on, because obviously this is going to be a huge vote. It was all put together. I'm not saying, and I appreciate everything that Keith is doing, but I think there's also some things that's put on his lap at the last minute. There's some things that's forced on his lap to do things because we have to hurry up and get it done before November. I just think now we need to slow down. And is there a way that we can get back to our regular agenda out of this emergency and let Mayor handle the emergency of COVID so we can get these things done and stop just trying to talk over them and move through them? Who ever thought about trying to pass something that says minimum cost? Not one person on this city commission has ever wanted to just say, oh, yes, I'm going to vote yes for it at a minimum cost. There's always a breakdown of numbers. And I'm not going to sit here and just be shaded because there's side conversations going on before we get on here and we don't discuss really what's at hand. And the mayor controls this agenda and allows 1, 2, 3, it was 4 things that were combined as one thing is Fort Hill, but yet you couldn't give the community an update on YMCA. You wanted to email us on it. It's absolutely absurd. And I'm so tired of getting looked over and the agenda items getting looked over for what the community needs to hear. That's all I have to say.
Just for further clarification, they were listed separately at first, and the staff requested that we combine those for ease of discussion purposes. Commissioner Sauer?
Mayor, just to make clear the record, this was sent out last week, as a matter of fact. The city manager then responded to what I had to say, and then I sent my responses back. That didn't really affect any element of the 4 items that you received last week, Commissioner. I sent it both to your personal account as well as to your city account. And then I sent my responses to, again, your city account and your home account.
I have them all. Thank you. I clearly read through them. I still stand by my comment.
Okay. Commissioner Wiseman?
Just for clarification purposes, this is requesting us, I'm just asking, the archaeological records are something we should have on file at City Hall anyway. It astounds me that we don't have those.
Commissioner,
Commissioner Wiseman, you're freezing on us.
You froze up again, Eric.
Commissioner Wiseman, I think you've got a bad connection. Okay. Whoop.
Are you there?
We're here.
I'm sorry. I don't know what the problem is tonight. I was just asking for clarification. The archaeological records are something we should have at City Hall anyway. Obviously, we need those to inform what is coming up in our parks plan, that we don't put new structures on top of archaeological sites. That is a minimal cost and something that we're not discussing here. And to my knowledge, we're really not discussing a direct expenditure here. We're asking for staff to come up with solutions and bring them to us. Is that what I'm reading? Commissioner Sauer, can you just clarify for me?
Your idea is well taken, Commissioner. And obviously, I'm in total agreement with the city should take a thorough search itself for these type of documents first. And I don't know if we can wait for the Parks Director, maybe the Assistant Parks Director, or one of his designee can take a look at the Parks Department information, as well as another source, of course, is the museum, Capital City Museum. So I would urge the city manager to use those two avenues to search what we have, and then upon the completion of that search, immediately then contact the University of Kentucky Office of the State Archaeology, because if we don't get that information, everything else is held up until we do.
Mayor, can I?
Let's do one more.
I have one other concern, Commissioner Sauer specifically. To my understanding, the Office of State Archaeology is in process of being moved to Eastern Kentucky University, I believe, and is operating there. The lab at UK has been closed down. So I'm not sure where the records are. We may just, your motion might state wherever the records are held to work with that university, because I do believe the majority of the records have been transferred to EKU, but I'm not sure. Just bringing that up for a topic of concern. I ran into that recently.
Commissioner Tippett.
I'm nearly 100% certain that all this information has been documented over and over again. Okay. The city may very well have possession of these documents in a box somewhere in a closet. Okay. So what we're trying to do here, okay, is bring this information, the critical information, to the staff. Okay, there's no cloak and dagger things here. It is the real information that has been accumulated over time through agreements with the state, leases, easements, memorandums of agreement. There's just tons of them. They go probably back through at least 10 city managers. Okay, so much of that institutional knowledge has fallen through the cracks. All that we're trying to do, all I'm trying to do, is to provide staff, okay, the city manager and the city solicitor, with that historical information. They can have it on a PDF. It can be at their fingertips, okay? And then when an issue arises, we can research that. We can research the historical documents in the record, And that will guide us to the appropriate resolution of many problems, which we weren't able to do in this last controversy, okay? So all we're saying is lay the information out for the staff to use. And it is inexpensive, okay? It is inexpensive. Thank you.
One more thing, City Manager, then we're going to vote unless you got serious questions from somebody.
We have clear direction. I would just, we should search our records. Why not at the same time go through the Office of Archaeology and make sure we haven't missed something that we thought we had. That process is really, it's already started. I've asked staff to reach out. Maybe we bring back to you what it's going to cost to do the fencing, just so everybody's comfortable. I think we have clear direction. It's all moving, and we'll make it a priority.
Okay. Everybody ready to vote?
So the motion stands, right, Mayor?
Yes. Does anyone need the motion read? No? Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
No.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiseman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, item is adopted. That concludes our agenda, unless there's something that I've missed. So I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Mayor, move to adjourn.
Moved by Commissioner Wiseman,
Second.
second by Commissioner Tippett. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all.